I kind of wanted to go over, well, not kind of. The last time I went on a cruise was in February with another group, and then the month after that, I went on my mastermind to the Dominican Republic, and I shared my takeaways then, and I got a lot of good feedback that a lot of people liked it because they like to hear, you guys couldn't go, right? And you wanted the information still, so that's why I'm inviting other attendees to come up and talk about their experience as well. So you won't just hear my point of view, you can hear everyone's point of view. So my number one favorite thing about cruises, and the first one I went on was in 2020, and it's because, I don't know if you told me or if I just overheard Kim and Bill Cook talking about Captains of the Deal cruise. And I went on it because I was like, please put me on the wait list if someone needs a roommate or whatever, right? So I got a roommate, I went, and I had so much fun, and then COVID happened. And then there's like no more cruises. So now that we're back up in cruising, I try to go to every single one that I can. There are several different ones. I personally like this one the best because I know a lot of you already, but then you get to know each other even more. So that's like one of my favorite things, which I'm pretty sure there's going to be several of the attendees also sharing the same thing, because that is one of the biggest, one of my joys is getting to know people better. And then each time you go, you get to know them more and more. So, but from the actual conference part, let me just share this. I was whale watching on my boat, and we saw a whole bunch of whales and everything. And while I was on there, and we're going from like one little section of watching whales to the other section, I had a DocuSign something for one of my mobile homes as I'm watching whales, and people, you're working while you're on the cruise? I'm like, no, I get to work while I'm on a cruise. I could work wherever I want, whenever I want, if I want. Or I could wait till Monday. But it's nice that that's something that I wanted to build for myself and my business was, oh, darn, I'm going on this conference on a cruise. I told so many people, just random people I met or groups that I met up with. Anyways, but I told them, like, oh, what are you here for? I'm like, oh, I'm here for a conference. Like, on the cruise? I'm like, yeah, on the cruise. And I'm like, yeah, and it's 2 whole days from 9 to 1 on a 7-day cruise, right? So it's not only is it a business write-off. I had so much fun. I met so many people. A group of us now have a Facebook group where one of the guys is planning another cruise, like someone that's not even was in our conference is planning a cruise, and I'm like, I want to go with them because they were fun. A lot of fun people. So, okay, I just wanted to mention that I get to be on a cruise while I'm working. So that was one of my things I realized early on the other cruises, but it's just so much fun. I just can't say enough about that. But one of my takeaways was when Todd Van Meter, he was talking about trust. And one of the things that I liked that he shared, or him and his wife were both sharing this, is that we're all in a different stage in our real estate journey, right? Some people are just starting. Some of us have a lot of property that, we need to protect. Some of us only have a couple. So when do you put something in a trust, right? When do you start putting things in an LLC and structuring it and everything, right? So I'm going to talk to Evan, and Evan's going to give me one opinion. I'm going to talk to Andy. He's going to have something totally different. Then I'm going to talk to Rich, and then, he'll have something different. Because I asked one question one night to the 3 of them. We had like a little round table every night, well, oval table, 4 round tables put together. Anyway, and that was one of the questions I brought up. And I have a situation that I'm going through where I'm like, hey, what's the best way? All 3 of them had a different answer, but they were all right in their own way. But it's how do you want to handle it? So that's what I liked with Todd's presentation was he was saying this is what you can do with trust. Now, I'm probably not going to do that anytime soon, what he's doing. But it's good to have that tool in my toolbox for when that happens. So Those were just some of my takeaways from the actual the speakers. I believe Rich is going to be asking me some more questions later. I told him I would save the juicier questions for the end. But I do want to call up, I have 3 groups of people. So the first 2, and I didn't tell Scott yet, but it's Scott and Chris. I told everyone else, but I didn't get a chance to tell Scott. So let's go ahead and get Chris and Scott up here real quick so then we could, I could torture them a little bit. I get to torture you guys. All right, you guys get to share a microphone. Go ahead. Oh, yes. I did not tell anyone to wear their Alaska shirts, but a lot of us did. So you guys got the memo. Yes. Yes.
We're proud, right?
Love it. Love it. Well, first question, and since you have the mic, we'll start with you, Chris. First question, tell us about yourself and why did you decide to go on the cruise?
So basically, again, for those who doesn't know me, my name is Christian Malpica. And basically, first is, do I like to go to cruises? Yes, I do. I go with my wife every year. Oh. That's why we made it as a goal to go together, spend the time as we spend a lot of time with the kids and so on. Just get away at least a year. So why I decided to go to this time with the club? Because I like to build relationship with people. And I wanted to know other people, like Farah says, we see each other here, but we spend a little time because everybody's busy trying to talk to other people to build a relationship. But in the cruise, we were able to actually spend more time and go a little bit deeply on what they do, how they do it, and what goals they go, and then also to socialize.
I always wanted to go to Alaska. I've been telling my wife for years. And finally, this opportunity presented itself, and I was getting to know everybody in this club and everything. I'm like, wow, this is a business write-off as well. But it turns out I end up taking my mom, and paying for the trip with her. She was my roommate. Chris wasn't, and we had a good time. It was really nice to share a great experience like that with my.
If somebody did not attend, maybe mention, like, what did they miss out on? Or what was, like, the biggest, oh, you had to be there?
Well, I do think that all the lectures that we had were very good. All of them were really good. Not only that, it was really nice to see investors outside this investor environment because you got to know the people, and then that also builds a better bond for trust in saying, okay, I do want to deal with this person until you see him dance, and then you're like, well, I don't know about that. And then, but you.
He's not talking about me. I'm telling you that right now.
No, but you do build a better bond with them that way.
That's cool.
Totally agree. Bonding is very important, though, because besides just talking about business, and then you start talking to you about their personal life, and especially the partner is with them, you learn from both of them. So definitely, it's a great experience. And maybe any of you guys, if you want to try next time to go to the cruise, you're gonna learn a lot how to socialize outside just business, related stuff.
Then I'm gonna call up Janine and Miss Christie. Yeah, I think the first time, I'm trying to remember, the first time we met was on the other cruise?
Well, I'm sure we met here before, don't you?
But like, maybe not talked. Anyways, I was just thinking about that like right now. Anyways, so kind of what you were telling me earlier, maybe go into that, but why did you decide to go on the cruise and like out of just like a regular conference or anything like that?
Well, I've been in the real estate world almost 20 years now as traditionally, and things have changed quite a bit since joining the group, and I have a completely different outlook on it. And so networking for me has changed. Hanging out with real estate people has changed. I'm just a little more focused on what I can do that's not traditional. Like Scott, going to Alaska has been on the bucket list forever. And so having this in mind kind of pushed it forward. Andrew and I both talked that, even though it had been right there, it literally, the brochure is right above my desk. And it's been sitting there for years on my board. We probably wouldn't have booked it, so this made that easy. Not only were we finally doing it, but we were doing it with the conference in mind and learning.
Nice. What about you, Christy?
I love to cruise, and I had been on a 4-day cruise last November, but that's a teaser to me. And so to be on a cruise for 7 days or 8 days, that sparked my interest. Plus, I had never been to Alaska, and everyone talks about how nice Alaska is. And then it was a conference. So that also meant, I can enjoy the trip, I can network with other people, and I can write it off.
Yeah, that's always nice, right?
That is nice. I love to be on the water.
Okay, so let's go with either an insight or a takeaway, something that you did not see coming.
I didn't fully understand it, but when Todd Van Meter was talking about the trust and how he used this complicated trust to sell his properties, but
Deferred
still
taxes.
be able to manage it and defer all of his taxes. That was quite interesting. And then when, was it David about the short sales?
Yeah.
Yeah, David Randolph, he talked about the short sales, and he was like, they're not what what you believe them to be, and he had all this information about that. Now, one thing that I really, I was excited about is that I finally figured out something. Andy was doing all the numbers, and
His calculator
I was like,
questions.
Yes, all his numbers, and I wasn't getting it. And apparently I was the only one who was brave enough to ask. Or actually, he saw my face, and he was like, what is it? What is it? So I asked, and then when I said that I had no clue, I wasn't understanding it, everybody else said they weren't understanding it either. So, you know how they say there's never a bad question or stupid question? I don't agree with that. But because sometimes people ask questions after you've been told the answer. But one, it made me feel like, okay, everybody's having the same issue. They're not quite understanding. But Andy was very patient, and he went step by step, and he did help me understand something that I hadn't understood all this time. I went to his class, and I didn't understand it, but I got a better understanding. And then afterwards, he said, thank you for asking the question. I love when people ask questions, because apparently not everybody knows, but you always don't want to feel, you don't want to feel like you're the only person who doesn't get it. Right. And it turns out you're not. You just may be the only one who will say it.
Do you have something that was unexpected or a takeaway that?
Well, cruises in itself is like a la carte. You can go eat here, you can go to this excursion, you can sit in your room, you can do whatever you want. But it's the same with this group too. You can attend the speaking sessions or not. You can go at 8 o'clock and meet Andy for pizza and talk with everybody or not. You can meet Farrah for breakfast or not.
Or the gym.
Or the gym, but
no
you're
one went with
very
me.
free to have your own cruise with these little bonuses.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Let's go ahead and get Angela and Evan up here. They're the last two before Rich tortures me. I'm pretty sure he's going to have. No, and again, a lot of it's going to be similar, but for them to hear it from different people, different personalities is always good. So
Yes,
know
we
these
were
church-
roommates. Yeah. That's a different cruise you're thinking of.
oh my gosh.
Next June,
We won't
from
talk
the 15th
about-
to the.
Oh man.
Farrah told me about it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So I totally blacked out on what you said right now, actually. Anyway, hi.
Hello.
So I know you guys have been on a few real estate cruises. That was kind of like cruising a few at the same time. Anyway, what about? I want to ask you a specific question. What about this cruise is different than like other real estate cruises? And I just. I delegate you to answer most of them, and Angela will grab the mic when she wants to say something.
Okay. All right. I think that's how it is normally anyway in our world. So, let me say one thing about the cruising. Is any of you that have had a career before real estate where you had a job, and anyone ever had a paid vacation, right? Where'd they pay you to go?
Nowhere.
They pay you not to show up. They pay you to get away from here and do not come back until, all right, unless they need something, they call you while you're on vacation. Where's this? Where's that? You're like, I'm on vacation. So there's a boundary issue. Well, the neat thing about it, kind of you said, is even though we don't have the paid vacation, we still love this so much that we get to go out and hang out with friends, and maybe we're having a round table, we're hanging out, listening, learning, teaching, masterminding, and doing all that, I'm like, we do get paid to do this. We get paid to do that from everything we've built. So that is, and it's something we wouldn't change for the world. So when someone says, oh, you're doing this and you're speaking, or you're working a little, or we are on Wi-Fi and we are working a little bit, so we're having the time of our lives. And we could have just, Rich, so you know, we could have just circled Catalina Island for 7 days, and I'd have been fine.
Same.
I mean, it was, again, it's not always the destination. It's who
Yeah.
you're with and what you're doing. So understand that from some of the things we picked up. So as far as this cruise versus the other, I tell you, we've been on cruises. We've been on another investor group cruise, and they're all wonderful and they're all different because it's not so, even though the speakers are cool or they're very experienced and you pick up something, it's it's walking down, seeing someone for coffee and sit down for 15 minutes and picking up something. You're like, I could get helicoptered off right now and this paid for itself. And that hanging out and being around some of these other people, and some of them are really high level doing deals, and some of them are newer, and some of them might only have a couple of, they do a couple deals a year, but they're doing it in a way you're like, I never thought of that. Crap, I've been doing that wrong all this time, you know. And so it was very informative on that. So one of the things about this cruise, let's say again, versus the other, is I think it's what you bring to the table. If you come in and hide in your room the whole time, guess what? It's, you know, you're not going to get as much out of it, but you get out there and, like I said, go out and meet people, and you see someone reading a book, sit down.